Pledge allegiance to the flag.
United States of America. One nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a memorial moment for Brian Weiss, who passed away on December 28, 2022. Brian was a laborer in the Public Works Department. Thank you. We did have an executive session to discuss various personnel matters before tonight's meeting. Public presentation. First, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Hoover. I believe he has a new officer.
Yes, Ray, you want to step up? Braden Keller is the most recent addition to the department. He's a township resident. He graduated the Reading Police Academy in December of 22 and graduated Muhlenberg High School in 2017.
Thank you, Greg. Good luck. Stay safe.
Just happy to be here and looking forward to the future.
Thank you. Public presentation, excuse me, public portion. Lee, I saw you sign in. We have some information for you, so if you want to come on up.
Yeah, we can go. I'll support it. I'll try.
Go ahead.
So for Andy and Colleen Russo of 4330 11th Avenue Temple. We're just interested in how the traffic survey went on 11th Avenue.
Yeah, Commissioner Wolfinger, if you want to take a lead, I know, yeah, some information.
That's well, no, it's okay.
Okay.
That's a slow week.
Yeah, so we put the tracks unit out, the chief did, and we want to review the tracks again to get more information, because as you can see the results. And at the next meeting, our township staff is going to bring an aerial view, some more information, and updated tracks report. We're going to decide on the request about whether to be one way or not. So we just want to gather a little more information. We've done some work, but we kind of want to make sure we put it out at a normal time, school traffic and all. What are the ramifications if we do make it a one way to 10th Avenue and some other surrounding areas? So we have been looking at it. Our team is on it, but next month we'll make a final decision of what we think will do best for everyone within that area, if that helps.
Are you looking at just the section where it's the most narrow and there's nowhere else to go when you're talking about the one way, like down in that, I guess it's the 4100 block when you're talking one way? Is that what you're?
So that report details two different sections. It details Hay to Eleanor and then Park to Midway. So I think that's what Mike is suggesting, that once we have that more accurate information, we'll be able to look at it and decide if it needs to be the entire stretch of 11th Ave or if it's just a portion or what. So, yeah.
Okay.
Question, has there been any like studies like this done as like a control on like, say, 8th Avenue or 10th or something that is a full width street and compare these results with that, like a full width street compared to like our street? Just curious.
We could do that, but some of the downside to that is that, 10th Ave, for example, is going to have a lot more stop signs, cars parked on both sides of the street. Granted, 11th is very narrow, but we could certainly do that to have.
I mean, if you picked another street somewhere, just as a control.
You'd want to stay close, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak under the first public portion? Seeing that, we'll move on to the entire consent agenda. So we need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move.
Second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those, if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. Any unfinished business? The board?
I'd like to bring two items.
First, I was in contact with our new fire chief, and I thank you very much. We were talking about the polling location at the Tuckerton fire station. I did get some information back as to why the location was moved. We had a pretty good discussion in email. I understand some of the issues that the volunteer firefighters are looking at. But I raised a point that, you know, I don't think that there's anything that they see as an issue that is insurmountable. So they're gonna have another discussion and kind of take it back to the fire company and just take a look and see if we can't address some of the issues that they had. You know, mainly it boils down to being able to find somebody to be at the station during the entire polling day. And I, you know, one of my points was it wouldn't have to be specifically one individual, but I'm sure we could get a couple of different individuals to do that. We also talked about maybe housing the apparatus at different stations so they wouldn't have to sit out. Mainly in November, the issue is if apparatus sits out, it's extremely cold. You know, it can cause some damage to the pumps, and we certainly don't want to see that, but so there's probably a couple of workarounds we can have, so we'll discussion on that. We also had another meeting on our comprehensive plan. It was another very good meeting. We're really starting to get into the meat and potatoes of the plan. There will be a workshop coming up on the 25th for our planning commission, that the planning commission can, all the members of the planning commission can kind of give some of their input as to what they see the important points are. And Commissioner Lasota can certainly talk more to that than I can at the moment. But after the next meeting, you know, we're going to sit down in February and really start to map out the questions of what is Muhlenberg Township? What do we want to be? How do we want to be identified? And then from there, we can start kind of honing in on changes that we want to make to our zoning, if that's necessary, and then start to take a look at our ordinances and bring some ordinances up to date, maybe get rid of some old things that are outdated. But the pieces are starting to fit at that point. I don't know if Commissioner Lasota or Commissioner Pagan, or Commissioner Wolfinger, who is also in attendance, have anything they'd like to add to that.
Yeah, I would just comment that the meeting on the 25th is primarily planning commission members. I wanted the opportunity for each of the 7 planning commission members to give us their thoughts about what the future of Muhlenberg Township should look like. They have a lot of experience, obviously, over the years. So it's primarily for that. On our committee, as Commissioner Lurch mentioned, we do have Parks and Rec representative. We have a zoning hearing board representative for the Borough of Laureldale School District. So we have a diverse input, and we did get a lot of feedback on the survey that we received. So I think the next step is probably around, I'm thinking April, May, when we get a draft of the comprehensive plan, and then we'll hold a public meeting on that. And I can't emphasize enough for our residents how important it is to get your input at that public meeting, because Vanessa and I have been on the planning commission for quite a while, and when we have plans come to us, we have to follow the existing zoning ordinances or subdivision and land development ordinances that are in place. We can't alter those. And it all starts with the comprehensive plan. So you start with the foundation of the comprehensive plan. What do you want Muhlenberg Township to look like 10, 15 years from now? Then the zoning map has changed, then the zoning ordinance has changed. And the planning commission cannot alter that. That's our job, is to review plans as they come in against that zoning ordinance. So we'll let you know again in advance when that public meeting will be held. That's an important step, is that comprehensive plan.
With that said, our survey is still up, the numbers are still increasing, so we decided to keep that survey up for a little while. So if you can, whoever hasn't done that, it would be nice to get more feedback. The more surveys we get, the better input we get.
The county's doing a very good job. I guess we couldn't have paid the money to do this on our own. have somebody come in and do it for us. But the county has been very good in organizing these meetings and with the survey going out. They sent us an update as to how the responses have been. I've been very pleased with the county's involvement here today. But we will have the survey out there for the next couple of weeks. I think the last newsletter might have the address on it, so please, if you haven't filled it out, please do so. I'll put it on the front page. For what?
And the last thing that the county said is the work that we're doing internally on our comprehensive plan, in partnership with the Borough of Laureldale and Muhlenberg School District. We are kind of miles ahead of what else is happening in the county. And they're really looking at us as a model, especially as the county looks at their plan, Imagine Berks, and what they'd like to see regional plans as we kind of dovetail in the municipalities that surround Muhlenberg. So we're getting some really high marks for the work that we're doing here. And I cannot thank the members who are attending those meetings enough to keep this moving forward. It's very, very important. So that's all right.
Thank you. Anyone else with any more unfinished business? I'll just add one thing for those who have attended the budget workshop, the 2023 budget workshop, and thank Stone for the information. We'll end the year with 4.1 million of unrestricted reserve balance. That is in addition to a 3.5 million already restricted reserve balance, so that we're financially healthy, and we also have some reimbursement funds coming in from some grants we prepaid. So I thought it was important for those who sat through the budget process to understand where we end the year. So we'll continue doing what we do.
Dick, if I can add to that. We ended the year with 3.3 million, almost 3.4 in excess revenue. So with that, we, in the general fund, but we transferred 3.3 something over to capital. So what I'm trying to say is we were able to finance our own capital with what we made today, but out of some of that, as Mike said, was towards the project on Fish Street, so which we will get reimbursed $1 million for that. So that's $1 million we'll put back into the capital fund and use for future expenditures. So overall, we ended with a negative balance of only 67,000, but that's really just because we qualified our reimbursement. So yeah.
Thank you. All right, going on to new business. I need a motion to approve payment of bills presented by the Director of Finance and Customer Service.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. I need a motion to grant conditional plan approval of our FISTI annexation plan condition on the planning commission's recommendation and XD's most recent review letter.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. I need a motion to grant conditional approval to the Yosemite Cemetery annexation plan condition on the planning commission's recommendation and STD's most recent review letter.
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to adopt resolution 2023-1, authorizing the township manager to execute amendment 1 to extend the ARLE grant deadline.
Moved.
Well, second. Can you just quickly, Jim, explain that to the members?
Back in 2018, we applied for a grant through the Automated Red Light Enforcement Program to upgrade the school warning systems on Kutztown Road. That work is completed. There is still some work that needs to be finished. In order to be able to complete that work and still be reimbursed in time, we had to request an extension.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to ratify the Board of Commissioners' decision to extend 3 conditional offers of employment to candidates on current police civil service list.
I'll move.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to authorize the public works superintendent to solicit bids for the 2023 equipment rental contract.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to authorize the township manager to destroy township records per the Records Retention Act.
Moved.
Second. Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to declare the replacement of the heating boiler at the Township Recreation Building due to the freezing winter temperatures, an emergency, and ratify the township manager's execution of the proposal for the boiler replacement.
Moved.
Second.
Jim, you want to explain a little bit about what we have to do?
Well, it should be done. Jeremy, is it all done back and operational again?
They were there today, but I don't know if they finished.
Okay.
If not, probably tomorrow, but yeah, it's all been done.
So we learned of a leak in the cast iron plates in a boiler that we have in the basement of the recreation building. That is probably from the mid to late fifties. It was not repairable. So the recreation building went without heat for a couple of days before we moved in some temporary heaters to keep the space from freezing, the water pipes from freezing. And so we replaced.
Rec center is used very frequently. I mean, how many times a week? Karen?
6 or 8 at least,
It's used
almost every weekend.
It's used a lot. We need to keep there, or we need to close the building down. We don't want to do that.
Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. And a motion to certify the uncollected real estate taxes as prepared by the tax collector for the Burke County Tax Claim Bureau.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Any other new business? No, board members, any other new business? Okay, on to board appointments. The motion to appoint Jim Kelly and Rick Hoffmaster to serve on the Muhlenberg Township Authority Board.
So moved.
I'll second. Questions or comments? I'll just make some comments, that, regarding the Township Authority Board. You know, one of our jobs as commissioners is sometimes hard because we appoint members to boards and who have the authority to implement change. And we take those decisions to heart and we just don't gloss over them to do that. And there's been a lot of talk about our authority board recently because of the water main break where the entire west side of our community was without water. And probably not the greatest communication to our residents. So we look long and hard at what we can do to, and for folks to serve on the board that can come help, you know, implement change and hold folks accountable, produce emergency action and preparedness plans, as Commissioner Lasota has pointed out. So we attended their last meeting, and, you know, we were clear that we need to have a renewed partnership amongst both groups. Because there was talk, just the transparency about this board taking over the authority board, but we didn't think we were at that position. But that's how much we take these decisions, you know, and gather all the information and make sure we're doing what's right for the community, because they are a significant part of the safety, well-being, and economic development of our community. So we're looking forward to having two new fresh faces on the board that can hopefully, you know, implement some changes to ensure that the community is notified during specific, you know, instances, and also some intensive preventative maintenance programs we've talked about to help eliminate some of those things. So that's just my input. I thought it was important to talk about because it's tough for people because we always get told, like, why can't we control that? Because we don't control that. And it's almost like when someone asks us about school taxes, it's different boards. But we do appoint this board, and this board takes it you know, we don't take it for granted just put people on. We want work to get done and we want our residents, taxpayers and ratepayers and business community to know that there's accountability there. So I think the board's done a good job of taking the appropriate time to vet all of our options. So I thank my commissioners for going through the whole process. So any other comments from?
I would like to thank John Morganti, long-term member of the board. This isn't because of what he has done. This is just to get some new faces on the board, to get a new feeling of where we are with MTA and where we're going. So I want to thank John Morganti for all he's done for MTA.
Commissioner, anything else? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so we're public portion, anyone wish to speak under the second public portion? No? I don't want to see Tom Brady and Cowboys. All right, staff, chief, fire chief sitting out there alone. Any comments?
I'll make one comment. We finalized 2 weeks ago our FEMA AFG grants. If we are able to get both of these grants that we applied for, approximately $242,000 in funding to the fire department. It comes down in the summer, July or August.
Thank you, chief. Oh, that's what we're going to achieve.
Progress.
Progress. Karen, how's Parks and Rec?
Park and Rec, we're also doing okay. We're starting the planning for all the programs in 2023 with music and vendors at this point. So, and larger groups coming in for the Jim Dietrich Park, so meeting with each of those, you know, with the increased fees and stuff, and everybody's been fairly receptive. So, well, good.
Thank you. Mr. Dunkel?
Always good in the coach department, as you can see throughout the township, construction is still going. Sheets is slowly making its way back to our community. No snow, no real sidewalk issues, so with that said, that's about it.
No grass complaints.
No, definitely.
Joseph?
Nothing this one.
Karen?
No snow.
We're good. When you talk a lot, you know.
No Cowboys.
Commissioner, there is one thing I'd like to add.
Sure.
During the month of December, the department, along with codes, have been trying to tackle the homeless shelter situation in the township. So, in cooperation with some of the property owners, we've already addressed quite a few. So,
The same hotspots we have.
yes.
Thank you. Mr. Willoughby?
We have a planning commission meeting this coming Wednesday. We're going to review a sketch plan for the old Manderbox site. That's all I'll tell you if you want to know what it's going to be. After you come to the meeting. We'll get some public attendance at the planning commission meeting.
Thank you. Commissioner Willoughby, you're first.
I'll take number one.
You are. Here.
Who typed this? I know everybody in attendance tonight are law-abiding people who drive their cars at the right amount of speed. They don't pass where they're not supposed to pass. But for all the people in our land who's watching on YouTube, slow down. A lot of complaints, a lot of crazy drivers out there. You have to really watch yourself. I don't ride my motorcycle anymore because all the nuts out there driving cars. And I asked the police to watch out the Kutztown Road area from South Temple Playground north, because people are passing cars going north out there. So if you're one of those people, don't do it, or you're going to be ticketed. So please slow down. Thank you.
Commissioner Large?
See, I think it's good to be mixed this up. Like everybody should have a chance to be the first commissioner to call. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm glad to see people in attendance, and I hope there's people at home watching. Yeah, it's an exciting year. You know, we have some new faces up here, and you know, we have a new budget in place. and we kind of hit the ground running. I'm really excited about this comprehensive plan. You know, there's been a lot of work to get us to the point that we're at. If you have not had a chance to take the survey, please do so. You know, we cannot stress how important it is to have information from the public. What does the public want of their community? And that's how we can be better representatives and better create a long-term plan. There's a lot of good things happening with this plan. The conversations have been very lively, a lot of good questions being asked. So I think it's very exciting, and I'm glad to see it moving forward. That's all I have. Go Cowboys.
Well, lots of meetings this month, very busy. Hope to see everyone on Wednesday, meeting the fire chief tomorrow. So like you said, a lot of good things, in support of what Steve said. We are going too fast, but we're also being very distracted. Lots of rear-end drivers, accidents. So if we can slow down, but put our phones down, that would be nice too. Other than that, see you next month.
Commissioner Lizette.
Yeah, two items, one just for general information, one of my roles, as a commissioner now is liaison to the police department, and, had the opportunity, took a lot more time, chief, than I think either one of us planned, but I spent about 4 hours with our chief learning about the department, and then, actually attended his staff meeting, so I get to meet all the sergeants. And, you know, there's a saying that says first impressions are lasting impressions. Well, I got a very good first impression. I told the chief, we have a lot of talent, we have a lot of passion, and we just got to direct that talent and that passion. But the department, I think, is doing well. And I'll reiterate what the other commissioner said about speeding and not stopping at stop signs and all those things. And I said to my wife, you know, there's no way the police department is going to solve this issue. There's not enough police officers in the township or the county to solve this issue. And she said, well, what do you recommend? And I said, you know what, when you're sitting next to me in the car, if I don't come to a full stop, or if I'm going over the speed limit, you need to tell me. You need to tell me because you want to protect me, and I want to protect her, and I want to protect our grandchildren in the back of the car. So my message to all of us is, if you have that opportunity, the police aren't going to be able to enforce this entirely. You need to, as you have a passenger car in your car, whether it's a relative, whether it's your spouse, whether it's a friend, tell them to tell you when you're not obeying the traffic laws. And I think that way we'll get a little bit better, but we're not going to get it done by policing. It's going to be having something that we own personally because we care about people in that vehicle. That's my message.
Thank you, Commissioner. Well, the common theme is, you know, slow down, and Elaine and Andy's pointed at dirt road, the carpeted road the other day, someone passed me. We carpeted. My wife came home the same day and said someone passed her coming the other way. So it's everywhere. And as Commissioner Lozada said, we have to just have the community do everything we can do to get people to slow down. But we're not the only community dealing with it. It's all over Berks County. There's a lot of cars on the road and people are always in a hurry, but we'll do everything possible to protect our residents. But our boys are pretty busy, and soon to be one gal, I think, right? No. Anyway, so yeah, all you can, what we'll do is much public outreach, public service announcement, whatever we can do to help. But it's becoming just dangerous out there, and two of us in the insurance business know it's not helping, you know, that industry either, because people are just too aggressive nowadays. So, you know, talk to your neighbors, we'll see what we can do to try to get people to slow down. The other thing, just to mention, I'd like to thank, you know, Commissioner Lurch's leadership on the comprehensive plan. It's a tremendous amount of work, and the commissioners are all involved in it, and it's what we have to do in order to make sure we're building up our community the way the residents want, not the way necessarily the five of us want. So it's a lot of time and effort, and hopefully we'll continue with the outcome of good product, because, you know, we used to pay a couple $100,000 for these types of studies. So there's a lot of time and investment that goes into that. So I do thank you for your leadership on that. So that being said, thank you all for coming. No snow, and go Bucks. Yeah.